Hello, and welcome to another Final Fantasy X Final Fantasy X stream. And our official, unofficial post 100k celebration. I don't know if this is like the real 100k celebration. We'll do something that's like actually official. Maybe when I get the plaque, I don't know. In either case, I'm glad you guys are here. I am super stoked for the stream today. Appreciate you guys so much. Not just some knobheads with shitty opinion. You the real king, put in the work. FF has no idea. Find the general fandom space needs good creators like you. Appreciate that so much, Crossy. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So last time we left off, we were not able to defeat Braska's final Aeon because I had a time limit, and you know that final boss is actually a pretty big difficulty curve. Thunders, thank you so much for the super chat. Grats on 100k subs. Thank you so much. We have the check mark now officially. It may or may not load for all of you just yet, but the check mark should load eventually by tomorrow. It's loading for me right now. Doesn't load when I do like an incognito window, but the check mark is there on YouTube. Cloud Strife first class. I have missed the other Final Fantasy X streams, but I'm finally here for this one. This is the most important one. This is kind of the ultimate FF10 stream. So this is indeed the most crucial. If you missed them all up to this point, this is the one to be here for, because we're going to witness one of the best endings a video game has ever had. And I like 10-2. It is very unfortunate that this ending was undone in 10-2. I do have some ideas about how to make 10-3 maybe be kind of interesting on that front. But yeah, guys, I'm super excited. Actually, let's kind of just go ahead and dive straight into it because, oops, sorry, I hit the mic. We'll kind of just go ahead and dive straight into the game without going too crazy because, or without doing too much chatting because, yeah, just in case this ends up taking me a while. I don't think it will. Will be prepared for that eventual scenario, but I think I'm good. I think we're going to be able to get this done. What do you think sours the ending to 10 more? 10-2 or 10-2.5? It's weird, right? Because 10-2 sours the ending to 10, and then 10-2.5 sours the ending to 10-2. But I do think that 10-2.5 adds a little bit more onto 10-2's ending to make it maybe so that 10-2's ending is not as happy of an ending, is not as conclusive, and I think that might actually be kind of interesting in some way. Hi to Eyes, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for this fun journey. Grats on the 100k and good luck with T-Dussie's old man. Thank you so much. Hi to Eyes. We are going to crush Eject today. I promise you. We are going to make our old man look like a fool. We're going to show him the T-Dussie shot, which is way better than the Eject shot. I promise you. 10-2.5 had the funniest death in the franchise. It did. Tidus's head explodes in Minecraft. It's one of the it's one of the weirdest ideas for a protagonist death ever. Okay, so new in the remaster is the autosave functionality. This is a great thing. On PS2, you had to redo all the BS. Again, here you don't have to do that. Okay, so let's go through this again. Let's actually first decide on our formation. I think our formation is going to be Tidussi, Riku, and Kimari, and we're going to want specifically Aeon and Yuna are going to be important for our I want to say back row, not necessarily back row, but the functionality that Aeon and Yuna are going to have is strictly defensive, right? So Aeon and Yuna are going to come in to save us. So they're never going to be actively out. So we want them to stay behind in order to back us up in the event that an overdrive happens and we need some way to kind of do it. Aeon can likely tank and overdrive. Let's see if there is any... Oops. Is there anything we can do for Aeon here? Sure. We can give him Monosphere, and honestly, if anyone needs a speed sphere right now, it's him. And then Tidussi. Tidussi could use an let me see, what are his stats? Oh, I could look at his stats here. What am I doing? So realistically, Tidussi could use an HP sphere. Honestly, we don't even need strength spheres for our strat here. That's almost like... That's almost beside the point. Now, worst case scenario, chat, like what we could do is that we could have it set up so that we go back and grind. I really don't even want to. I just want to, like, you know, I just want to, like, push it forward, you know? I feel like this is more fun in a way, also. Oh, sweet. So we can use that. Okay, so we could actually do a defense node. We'll take that, actually. We will take that. Is there anything for Riku that would be good? I don't think there's anything for Riku that would be necessary here. I think she's already good. I don't think there's anything she needs to do. Don't forget to always quick hit. Oh yeah, also too, that is one thing we can do with Riku. We can... With Riku, we can do... Skill Sphere. And we're going to want to... Quick hit, because when we're not using Grenade, we'll be able to use that. Skill Sphere, and then teach him quick hit, and then that'll be good. So they'll both know quick hit. What else? Oh, also too, we want some wards on. Poison ward, Xylent. Yeah, I think that's like the best one. Those are all useless. We want something with wards on. I need slow ward. Is there anything with wards on here? No, because that's going to be more offensive for weapons, so... What we really need is Stone Ward more than anything, right? So let's see. More than anything, we need Stone Ward. Actually, I don't think we have enough stuff for Stone Ward. Dude, we don't. I don't know if we can do... Okay, so we may just be stuck with what we have for Stone Ward. Which isn't... much. Do you have anything with Stone Ward, Silence Horde? Okay, so we're not gonna be able to Stone Ward. Oh, but Arn has Stone Proof. Arn has Stone Proof. So that's really important. And then for Arn, we want to use a Friend Sphere. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have moved Tidus because I can't teach Arn Quick Hit now. I can't teach Arn unless I use a Return Sphere. For Tidusy, if I use a Return Sphere for Tidusy, and then do that, I can then go to Arn, and I could use the Friend Sphere. Oh my gosh. And we can teach him. We can also boost his health like that too. And give him this ability. And move him. And give him the Power Sphere, which then increases his health. Wow. Okay. Talk about fucking strategy here, chat. There's nothing I want to really do with Waka. I don't really have a place for him in my strategy. Or Lulu, honestly. Not for this strat. But it's good that he's got Stone Proof. Yuna also has Stone Proof. That's awesome. Well, at least I know who I'm going with if this strat doesn't work. If this strat doesn't work, I know exactly who I'm going with. Jesus. Okay. We'll watch the cutscene again. Unless I die this time, and then we won't watch the cutscene anymore. But this should be good enough.
You're late, Auron. I know. Hey.
Huh?
You got tall, but you're all bones. You eating right, boy? You've really grown.
After the 7th loss, I just hit him with Yojimbo. Oh, that's right. Can Spare Change also break the damage cap too?
Well, I am Sin, you know.
That's not funny.
Well, then, I mean, you know. Let's end this.
Yeah, it is a great stage in Duodecim. I agree.
Yeah.
I hate you.
I hate you.
I know. know what you have to do?
Yeah.
I can't hear the hymn so well anymore. Pretty soon I'm gonna be Sin. Completely. I'm glad you're here now. One thing though. When it starts, I won't be myself anymore. I won't be able to hold myself back. I'm sorry.
That's enough! Let's finish this, okay?
You're right.
Have you heard of the Masters Challenge mod? It revamps all the boss fights and makes them all crazy hard. Is that what I think I've seen some stuff on it. Yeah, I have heard of it though. Pretentious, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Okay. Crazy to think this game is 23 years old. Yeah, and it's still the game I think of when I think of cutting edge graphics. Subtext, hello man, what's up? Ruler of York, thank you so much.
I promise this will be quick! Hit me with all you got, Dad!
Wait, does it force me? It forces me to use this party. No. Wow, okay. So much for our fucking strategy. That's actually really important to know, though. Oh. That wouldn't be good. Fuck, that throws off the strategy entirely, dude. Oh, I should have swapped out Yuna, right? Fuck. I actually don't know what to do now because that throws off the whole flow of the strategy. What happens if I start with this? Mighty Guard? Oh, well. Let's just start with this. Okay, now we can get Kimari out. Fuck it. Get her back up. Okay. Cool. Overdrive. Okay. Quick hit. Counter. Nice. Quick hit. The left one's moving, so we'll use skill, and then we'll use... Do we have a grenade? Where's our grenades? Nice, it works. Let's go. He's not going to be able to charge his limit at all now. Let's be safe. See if there's anything we can steal. Turbo Ether, not bad. That'll be good for T-Dusty. It'd be hilarious if you could bribe this guy away. That would be the funniest thing in the whole world, dude. Just like being able to just bribe your dad to stop being sin. Oh, that's right. This. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, Mega Phoenix. Fuck. Wait, it stopped? It stopped working? What the fuck? It didn't do that last time. That is weird. Last time it worked past their death. Now it doesn't? What do we do differently? What changed? What the fuck? I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, me neither. Glitch? It has to be. Trio 999 should have stuck. What the fuck? Yeah. Why didn't it stick? Oh, man. Okay, that changes everything. That means we need to get Kimari out of there now. It stuck after death last time, for sure. For sure it stuck after death last time. Remember? We were all so surprised. Fuck, that changes the whole... Fuck me. Ah. I used Blessed Gem at the start of the fight. So that doesn't... So yeah, it's okay. Let's just do this. Was that Supreme Gem? Oh, you're right, that was Supreme Gem. Never mind, you're right, that was. Oh no, game over. Oh, it's not. Oh shit. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Actually, okay, that was a good move. We'll have to make a Phoenix after this. Or not. Or immune. Okay. Whew. It's over, chat. It's over. We'll have to regroup. Yep. Okay. Okay. We'll have to regroup. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay, this is the only fight that is absolutely as hard as I remember it. Everything else, Unalesca, all that other stuff, hasn't been that hard. But this guy, still as hard as I remember. Okay, so this was the party we have to have going out there. Right? This is what we have to have. So let's redo this real quick. No, fuck! Well, that's a waste. Okay, quick. Okay. Wait, how much HP does she have? Just reload. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We'll redo this again. Actually, I should have used the teleport sphere for Aeon. Actually, but the friend sphere, I mean. I should have used that for him. And he should be right there. That way he can... That way Aeon can have more health. And then you can actually move him over one. And then he also has more strength. Not that strength is like hugely important during this fight for us. And strength doesn't matter. Wait, luck is for... I don't even think... Do we have a luck... Do we have a spear to use for that? No, so that was a waste. It don't fucking matter. But what does matter, though, is that Aeon does have proofing, right? Stone proof and poison proof, which is going to be really important. Can we customize Aeon's weapons with anything? Sensor, first strike. Distill. Fuck it. Counterattack. Is Jekt immune to breaks? I don't... If we're doing the trio of nines strat, then I don't even think it matters. And then Riku... Oh wait, I already used... It's okay. Let's do it again. Let's use the most important mod ever, which is the ability to not have to rewatch these scenes when you get your cheeks clapped by these bosses. Okay. Let's see. Maybe power break though. Okay, that might be interesting. If we use power break. Are you fucking serious? Nice. Okay, so we'll use the grenade here and then we'll talk to him with Titus.
I won't lose.
Okay. Nice. Do we have anything that can multi-hit? Probably not. Chat, do any of these items multi-hit? If anyone knows. Only double cast? Right. Double cast might be like what we actually need for this strat to work. Okay. Okay. The brakes will be gone for round 2? Okay. Will he be immune to them, or will we be able to still do them? But they'll just be reset. Oh, that's right. Fuck, he comes in strong with this. Oh, fuck. See, this is what my strategy lacks each time, right? Is that I forget, and it's over. Holy fuck. Okay. This is what my strategy lacks. Okay. It's going into that second round there. It's going into that second round, and then I don't have anything prepared. So actually what we should do maybe is like, should we do an Aeon shielded? You need haste a guy and protect. I had protect on Aaron, actually. So I had protect on him. He was, I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was protected. I thought, anyway. Maybe he wasn't. So let's just line it up so that we know what we're doing here. These are the ones that start out. Quick hit. And dude, fuck it. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to use the friend sphere for him, so they could both get it. It's okay. An Aeon with a grand summon like Bahamut could kill out the first phase, then hurt the second phase. Okay, we'll try that. But is he gonna get 2 turns in a row for that? Because I figure after he uses that overdrive, even with the grand summon, Jekt will like obliterate him. Can't just go aggro on this boss? Yeah, that's for sure. Fuck it. Put her here too, so she can get the HP boost from being here. And then I'll let you, man, okay. Oh, God. Okay, that should be enough. Unless... Have Riku no cheer? Really? That makes sense. For the defense, right? That makes sense. Where the fuck? Oh, you have to use the special, or not attribute, to use the special sphere. Where is it at? Reflex, double cast, cheer. There we go. What else did I want to do? I think that's it. Also, set the equipment back. Stone proof and poison proof. And stone proof. Actually, that doesn't make any sense. Magic plus 20. Actually, none of this really helps. Any... for the most part. None of that's gonna help. And nothing with Riku is also going to help other than defense +5. Do you have any healing springs? I thought I did. Oh! Wait. With 999, with Trio of Nines, can I use Regen? Can I cast Regen on... Wait, no. I'm thinking zombie. What am I thinking? Never mind. That wouldn't work. That would not work. I'm stupid. Ignore everything I just said. Regen isn't good. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Ignore that entirely, dude. Okay. Let's try this again. If not, I guess it is time to go back and grind. And grinding might be the only way we can actually win this, if I'm honest right now. Because otherwise, yeah, I don't. Otherwise, I don't know. There's some stuff in Sin and Omega Ruins we can grab. Okay, this sounds good. Okay, we'll try this group right here. We'll try this group, and then we'll try Yuna to... What am I doing? Where is it at? When World War III hits, I'm gonna just play FF games. Sounds like a good strat, man. Okay, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. We got this, we got this. You need Protect on Tidus and Arn? Okay. If we could get 2 turns with...
I won't lose!
Being aggressive, am I? Okay. Here. We'll cheer. Switch Riku for Yuna? Okay. Keep cheering in this phase, dangerous? Okay, cool. We'll cheer. And haste Riku if you're gonna have her out. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I think I hasted Yuna, right? These aren't. Okay, thank God. See if this works. Okay. Phase change. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, Clive. Nice. We are back. Let's go. Okay. Dude, he's already at half health. Let's go. Also, Shell with Yuna? Fuck. Should I bring Yuna back out to Shell? That's not necessary. Because we have some shit that can Shell. I thought. Power break, nice. It works. Hit Arn. Fuck. I'm gonna go ahead and talk right now.
You won't beat me this time!
Oh ho ho, let's go. Let's go. Grenade. Magic break. It works. Oh shit, I think we got it. Let's go! Let's go! Oh man, yeah, it's all a puzzle, man. You just gotta figure it out. Oh my god, dude. Let's go.
You'll cry. You're gonna cry. You always cry. See? You're crying.
Imagine your dad's final words is that, like, look at you. You're soft as hell. That's like... Stop. Oh my god, dude.
Save it for later.
Right. We've got a job to do, don't we?
Good. That's right. You are my son, after all.
You know, for the first time I'm glad to have you as my father.
Sir Jack, I should...
No! Yuna! There's no time!
You stay away!
Yuna, you know what to do. The Aeons!
We Aeons.
Call them!
Call us! Yes. Here it comes!
Jet's sword is so fucking cool, by the way. It's like the coolest sword design.
Yuna!
Oh, I'll bad pose it, I guess, to heal up. Oh, we have auto life here. That's right. So it doesn't even matter. Nothing is still, of course. Nice. Each time Yuna's bond is broken when Yevon possesses, she is hurt. But because the bond isn't as strong as it would be with the final Aeon of her own, it doesn't kill her. Ah, I see. Oh, is that not extra damage? Can we speed this up? Oh, he's gonna do the overdrive. Yeah, Aeon's got like hella evasion. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. There we go. That's the trick. That's the trick. I'd like to know the lore behind the pagodas. Yeah, actually, I would too. When in doubt, just use holy. Yep. There we go. Holy is going to trivialize all of this. I should say thanks for the FF10 modding video. I had not realized just how goofy the HD remaster version of Tidus was until seeing that video. Contrast is striking. I'm glad it helped. Oh, I could turn down the music for this right here. It does not need to be as loud right now. Yeah, it was. A lot of people are definitely not very big fans of HD remaster versions of Tidus, for sure. The original model is still the GOAT. Dude, you can just use holy and like wipe all of them. We need Sleep Easy to dissect stories like 7. Yeah, like honestly, and this is what I told Sleep. I told Sleep Easy that like he could definitely become like an essay lore tuber after like 7R trilogy wraps up. I'm like, not just Final Fantasy games, but like if we could see his style come to like, you know, Souls games, any other JRPG, any other game with like a ton of like great lore behind it, it would be like really awesome. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way for sure. So yeah, I think he should get on that. There we go. Dude, holy is so essential, man. So essential. Now we have to fight Yu Yevon himself, right? I wish they made a character model for him, Yu Yevon. Oh, don't worry, Del. They're going to. They're going to make a character model for him in Final Fantasy X-3.
okay?
Huh?
What I'm trying to say is... after we beat you, Yevon, I'll... disappear.
What are you talking about?
She feeling lightheaded. It's like the budget stopped right when we needed it most. Yeah, a person to take out. Yeah.
I'm saying goodbye.
Not now.
I know it's selfish, but this is my story.
We'll let it be his story then. Wait, I thought that worked. That didn't work? I thought you could just like cast like life on him or something. Isn't that how it worked? Oh, you have to zombie him. Oh, and I don't have zombie strike. You have to zombie him first. Oh, okay. I don't have zombie strike on. So, fuck. I don't know how we missed that, by the way. Does Dimmy work? Dimmy works. Reflect on him so he can't cure? Oh, smart move. Smart move. You can't die, right? With auto life on, even if all party members reach the... Oh, reflect is on Yuna. That's right. Right, so you can't lose. Okay, even if all party members die simultaneously, auto life prevents that from. So then let's just oops, we'll just do a supercharge then, so that this doesn't take all day. Oh, the reflect didn't work, by the way. But what will work is double cast Dimmy, double cast Dimmy. And what was the other thing? Holy, maybe. Oh wait, but he cures by that. Power wave gets rid of the statuses? Okay. Can we do? Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's not cool. Fuck, I wish we had zombie right now. Just do that. Auto life gets us. Oh, actually, you're right, because we'll just do the supercharge and then we'll just do auto life. Yeah, and then we'll just do auto life, yeah. That works. And then we'll just finish this off. Wait, where did it go? Oh, where did our thing go for trio of nines? I don't see it anymore. We still have plenty more. We had 28 of them. Did it use all of it? Somehow? It's gone. Is that a glitch? How are all 28 of them gone? Oh, I'm on use, that's why. Okay. That's why I'm stupid. Thanks. And then we'll just oh, I was supposed to double cast that. Chili, Tidasi. Oh wait, he didn't have trio of nines on. Ah, that's right. Ah, that's a waste. Oh wait, it's not a waste because I can just do it again. It's okay. I'll do it again. There we go. Okay, I almost got it. Okay, that should be it. Time to enjoy the ending. The camera like pulling back like that and then you exploding into light is like the ultimate Final Fantasy villain defeat. M2, thank you so much for the super chat. Congrats on finishing the game. Thank you for the Final Fantasy X streams. Thank you so much, M2. I appreciate that a ton. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning into the Final Fantasy X streams, honestly. It's been great. Now we have a Final Fantasy X retrospective to make. This has been a very enjoyable playthrough. Man, thanks so much, Orem. There he is. Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite FFs of all time. Such a great game. Keep doing what you do, NSP. Stay well, brother. Thank you so much. Still the best game ever. And let's get that beautiful cinematic.
Don't stop.
But I...
It's all right. It's been long enough. This is your world now.
Here it is. And the music here, guys, the music here. And this part. Man, that must have took months to render back in the day. That many particle effects, I couldn't even imagine. On 2000, prior to 2001, really, PCs. So these are like late 90s, early 2000s PCs that they're like rendering that many particle effects on. That one bit with Sin probably took like 6 months to render.
Yuna, I have to go. I'm sorry I couldn't show you Xanarkand. Goodbye.
Hey!
We're gonna see you again!
Yuna!
So, I'm gonna be honest with you, Dell. The English clears for payoff. The English localization here was the correct choice to make. I'm sorry, I don't care what the original says. That was the correct choice to make. I've actually seen a lot of Japanese people on social media saying that that was actually a better choice in English, that they liked it in English more too. So I don't think that that's like a yeah. Now granted, that was like one thread that I read on this, so don't take that to be like the way all Japanese people feel. But like, there's a lot of sentiment among Japanese fans that when they heard about it in English, they kind of felt a similar way too, that it was like, yeah. So, I love this part too.
Yuna, it's time.
I still feel emotional seeing this.
Everyone has lost something
Oh, thank you,
precious.
Del. I still am like
Everyone here
about to tear
has
up on this.
lost homes, dreams, and friends. Everybody, now Sin is finally dead. Now, Spira is ours again. Working together. Now we can make New homes for ourselves. And new dreams. Although I know the journey will be hard, we have lots of time. Together, we will rebuild Spira. The road is ahead of us, so let's start out today. Just one more thing. The people and the friends that we have lost. No dreams that fade.
The audio mixing here is kind of whack. But that's a common FF thing.
Never forget them.
Man. That still hits. Dude, that still hits. That still feels. And we're gonna get the what do you call it? The copyright thing, but it doesn't matter. We get that on Otherworld anyway, so and we can't mute that anyway. So I'll just let this kind of run for a second because the YouTube version of the VOD's gonna get the thing anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's still the greatest game of all time. I don't know what else to say. It's still the best one. Watching that again in 2024, having played this game, that was like my 4th run of this game in my life, I believe. Yeah, my 4th run. And it still hits, man. It still hits. It still hits. This was a complete game. But not only that, right? Like, you can use complete in the sense that, like, oh, it's a complete game as in, like, it has a beginning, middle, end. It's a complete game as in, like, when you buy this, it's such a complete experience, right? It's really hard to maybe articulate the thing that I'm talking about. Because certainly there are games with technically more content in this that don't feel as complete. But I think what I ultimately mean is that when you step away from this experience, you feel a sense of completeness in your journey with it, right? You kind of walk away with this, I got everything I could possibly want from a game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing more that really could have been left on the table with this experience. They did everything. They went everywhere, right? You may be left with some questions here and there about lore and stuff like that. Yeah, you walk away satisfied. You know, it's like you go to a restaurant and you eat a really filling meal, and that meal, like, you ever eat a meal at like a good restaurant and you walk away and you're not like so stuffed that you can't walk, but you're like a good level of just full, and you feel energized and you enjoyed every part of your meal, and you feel like the meal just hit every like craving that you had. I think that's the only way I could explain Final Fantasy X and the notes that this game hit on for me. It's the complete experience. There was a quote from Tetsuya Nomura, which is actually a quote from Hironobu Sakaguchi, but in it, Nomura said, basically, that Final Fantasy, according to Sakaguchi, is the game with everything. It leaves nothing on the table, right? That's what I think Final Fantasy X is. It also I think that Nomada is also the last kind of person that's still really operating under Sakaguchi's kind of philosophy and things like that. Is there anything you would change about the plot if given the chance and Tensu didn't exist? The only thing I would change, I'll just mute it real quick so I can talk more clearly. The only thing I would change would be that maybe perhaps I would give a little bit better elaboration on the dream aspects of Tidus. Maybe I'd spend like a little bit more time, a little bit, and just like a good cutscene, like one good cutscene, maybe giving like a little bit more exposition on that. As I played the game back, I don't think it was as necessarily jarring as it was maybe the first time I played it, but I do think that maybe a little bit more exposition on that might have benefited that twist a little bit more. Other than that, there is not really much I would change about it, right? And generally, that's when I know I've reached like a completeness with the story, like a super level of satisfaction, is when there really isn't a major thing that I'd go back and change. There is not like a plot point that I would alter. And at most, there is like a little bit of exposition I would have given here or there about something, but there's nothing I would like fundamentally alter in any way. I think that this is the complete experience. Had they more time, they probably would explain the dream more. I think given that Machen was their way of getting info on a short notice, yeah. The audio drama doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. You guys, Final Fantasy X-3 is on its way. No, I don't know that. We don't know that for sure. We do know that they want to work on it, and they said they've wanted to work on it after Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, you have to understand, the real reason that Final Fantasy VII Remake is even happening is because that's the highest selling Final Fantasy, right? Well, guess what the second highest selling Final Fantasy is? It's this guy. Oh, wait, chat, we got one more thing. We got one more thing. At this end credit scene, we're left with a cliffhanger. What did everyone think of this when they first saw it? Right? It was such a short gap between 10 and 10.2, and it was so long ago with internet discourse isn't what it was now, and we were all a lot younger, and no one really remembers. But I wonder what people speculated on with that. I remember it being a hopeful end. Yeah, I mean, it is very hopeful. It gives you like, you know, some hope that maybe Tidus did come back. Whether he did or didn't, you don't really know, right? And she was out there, like whistling toward the water. So we're kind of left with this ambiguity on whether or not Tidus stayed dead or not, right? And then 10.2 kind of comes in and seals the deal there, and kind of undoes all of that, right? So, you know, let's cap the ending off with the undoing of that ending. And let's see if you guys feel anything about that. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Oh man, let me theater mode. I have to recrop my window because I effed it all up the other day. We'll react to this, and then we'll talk about 10.3, and we'll also talk about how does, and like this is the question that I keep trying to raise that I feel like is not talked about enough or is dismissed in ways that I don't think is productive, is how does Final Fantasy get back to this? Not 10.2, but But how does Final Fantasy get back to the influence of Final Fantasy X? But let's watch this first. Oh wait, this is. We have the. Is there not a like an upscale version of this that we can watch? There we go. Counterpoint, thank you so much. The music is beautiful at the very least. Dog, they almost killed him again. I have to admit, watching the endings back to back is pretty emotional, though.
I think so.
You're back.
I am back. I'm home.
Why are the subtitles in Vietnamese? That's weird. Okay, we'll turn that off.
Yes, home.
What's up?
Who asked you to watch, Waka? Huh? Hey! Whoa! You know, you've changed.
Well, you've missed a few things.
I want to hear everything.
Well, it all began when I saw this sphere of you.
The music is incredible here, though. Yeah, not gonna lie, like the music is really what sells it. Do they have like the after credits scene too? Because I found that like really interesting. This part right here.
I got a theory. I think the faith gathered up my thoughts and put them together to bring me back. Maybe. Something like that.
got a theory, bro. I got a theory. I think they just like glued me back together, and then I was alive again, man. I think they just like. I think they just was like, hey, this part over here looks like Titus. Let's just put them all back together, and then it'll be good. Like, it's not even a problem, bro. We got it.
Or maybe I'm still a dream.
Wait! So you'll disappear?
Cherish me, Yuna. And I'll cherish you. All right? We gotta stay together. That's what we have to do.
Is that what the Faith told you?
Nah, but I like it. Hey! Whoa! Hey, that's not cherishing.
You didn't disappear.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even notice my camera was like... Then they kind of recreate the shot here of 10, like the opening shot, which is cool. The end. Or is it? Or is it, chat? After all, it may not be. Yoshinori Kitase, as well as many other creative business unit 1 leads, have expressed interest in wanting to create a Final Fantasy X-3. So, let's see if we can pull those quotes up, and let's have a little talk about it. Oh, wow. Wouldn't you know it, chat? Let me show you. Wouldn't you fucking know it? I was going to click this right here. This Game Informer article. But when I click it, oh my gosh. You can't fucking read it. How bad is this? That so many really important stories, video game fucking history that is really important to archive will no longer be archived. And they can't even back up their work, guys. It's a fucking shame. GameSpot can fuck themselves. GameSpot is catching strays. GameStop can fuck themselves. Sorry, GameSpot. Y'all didn't do anything wrong. Oh my god. GameStop can fuck themselves. Wrong one. Maybe here on the Final Fantasy X subreddit they have the actual article backed up. No, this was a leak from I'm a Hero 2 that Final Fantasy X Remake and Final Fantasy X-3 are planned. I don't think that this is like this is real or not. Actually, we don't know. I mean, I'm a Hero 2, yeah, a lot of the stuff that they reported was fake. But I do think that on this point here, if we are going to talk about Final Fantasy X remake being real, it has to be in order for Final Fantasy X-3 to work. Now, here's my problem with this idea, is that if we're going to do that and Rebirth isn't selling like hot, it does make me think, like, are they going to bother with another Final Fantasy remake or sequel at this point in time, right? Especially when those are resources that probably should be dedicated toward Final Fantasy 17 or 18, right? I mean, even 9R, which I'm sure began development around probably before 7 Remake itself even came out, it does make me think that it's not likely to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I think IGN has a version of the article here. There we go. Let me make sure that this is centered enough for you guys. Final Fantasy X-3 could come to life. We're going to go ahead and put me back down here in the corner. We'll move this down here too. As the first mainline entry to the Final Fantasy series to get a sequel, it never seemed out of the realm of possibility that a third game in the Final Fantasy X storyline would eventually get made. It seems now that's one step closer to happening, after Tetsuya Nomura revealed that a story for the potential sequel has been written. But it won't likely become a full game for a long time. The comments were made in an interview between Nomura and Final Fantasy X director Botomu Toriyama and Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu, and were translated by RPG Site. Nomura stated that if we are going to make X-3 somehow, we somehow have a synopsis written by Final Fantasy X writer Kazushige Nojima, and that it's sleeping right now, but the plot itself does exist, which is very interesting. Toriyama similarly expressed interest in returning to the world of Spira, but outlined the challenges that could impede the progress of any development on a sequel. He stated that the probability is not zero, but that, quote, "We are not in a phase where we could talk about it unless we have finished producing Final Fantasy VII Remake." That's right, because Creative Business Unit 1, the developers who made Final Fantasy X, are also the people who are working on Final Fantasy VII Remake. And there's really no one else that Final Fantasy X Remake or Final Fantasy X-3 can be done by other than that original staff. And we've seen twice now even what happens whenever you have someone else step in. We've had Creative Business Unit 1 try to give CC2 CyberConnect 2 the license to develop Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they outsourced it to them, and as you guys know, the rest is history, as they say. That didn't end up working out. CC2's work was late and poor looking, at least that's according to the rumors. And wouldn't you know it, also according to some recent rumors, Final Fantasy IX Remake was in a very similar situation where it too had to be pulled back in-house, at least according to the rumors. And it would also explain what has been taking FF9R so long. So anyway, continuing the article, they say that given that the first game in the Final Fantasy VII Remake series that focused just on the Midgar portion of the game alone only launched last year and will likely see at least 2 more games before its completion, which turned out to be true, we may be waiting a while for the team to get started on a potential X-3. Nomura previously worked on character designs for Final Fantasy X, as well as a wide range of other Square Enix's franchises, specifically ones where characters wear lots of belts. The dude loves belts. So he has been intimately involved with the story, world, and characters of Final Fantasy X. FF10 is one of the most popular games in the series, etc., etc., and that's in the article. So, anyway, they have gone as far as saying that the story itself is already written. They already know exactly what they want to do with Final Fantasy X-3. It's not a secret. It's not something they have to figure out. So they kind of know. Expressed interest could just be Japanese politeness. Whatever the story is, we'll hate it. That is probably true. And we kind of know based on Final Fantasy X 2.5 was never fully translated. But we can take a look here and show you guys some of the outline of what the plot is here. Is this like the best source though? I'm pretty sure everything there is correct, but this is the long form of it. This is the long form of it. Is there any... let me see this. Tidus and Yuna and Tidus are shipwrecked on an uninhabited island. A bomb there, disguised as a blitzball, most likely left over from, war, kills Tidus. Yuna beckons him from the far plane, which is a new concept introduced here in 2.5. Beckoning is like when the cast remembered their loved ones in the far plane, except it actually brings them back. Nothing else is elaborated on. We do not know how it works. It is mentioned that the island housed an unsent summoner from Zanarkand days of prosperity. Nothing else is elaborated on in this subject. After Tidus returns, he is not who he was before, and enough for Yuna to leave him. Very interesting. A lot of people don't like the way Tidus died there, because basically he kicks a blitzball, and it causes his head to explode. So that was not very good. Seymour also comes back too. That happens in the audio drama, which this audio drama is summed up here. The audio drama's name is Will. Here is where it comes. Where does this come from? That comes from the Final Fantasy X 2.5 novel that was never translated into English. So this is a Japanese-only book that was written by Kazushige Nojima, the writer of the original game, as well as the writer of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and he also is currently working on Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So then we have the audio drama. Will happens. Tidus lives in Bavel. Yuna witnesses creatures like the now extinct Shupuff returning from the far plane, fully alive, not unsent, not as fiends, not as memories realized by Pyreflies, but as living, breathing, thinking, feeling, remembering people. At one point, she calls Tidus her boyfriend. At another, she is jealous of his new friendship with a woman in Bavel and pretends to break up with him poorly. So this is another thing too that I think people got really upset about in the audio drama. Is the idea of Tidus and Yuna breaking up, but it was always not for real. Like, it was never like Yuna actually was breaking up with Tidus. Like, she just did it to like get him off her back so she can investigate what was wrong with him. So it was an act of love, right, that Yuna was doing there. So I think that's kind of an important distinction, because a lot of people listen to the audio drama, and I don't think that they were, I don't like saying this, but like, I'm like, that was like made so obvious. Maybe not everyone is super media literate, but like, that was like so obvious that Yuna wasn't really breaking up with him, but everyone was like, oh my god, I can't believe she broke up with him. like that's like not necessarily what happened. I think that's like not a good read of what those events were. And this guy here also points it out. Pretends to break up with him poorly. I already have a new boyfriend anyway, kind of thing. She's mostly trying to protect him because she knows he'll try to help solve this problem. Yeah, and it was made so clear. So I don't know how people get that part messed up, but they do all the time. And he's still visibly / notably injured from when he died. Yuna sets off to fix this problem because, by the way, Sin is also being summoned in some way now that the far plane is unstable. Tidus sets off behind her, wanting to always be by her side like he promised. This would lead into Final Fantasy X-3, where their rocky relationship is fixed. Yeah, right. And so this is another thing that I think that people weren't like necessarily being too media literate about. Not that I think that audio drama will is like the best thing ever written, or even that it's good, but I do think that a lot of people were being kind of stupid with some of the like just like completely media literate with some of the criticism of it was that they didn't really understand that this was the setup for X-3, right? Because they can't just have it so that Tidus and Yuna are mad in love for the entirety of X-3. That probably would be a really boring plot. That probably would be a really boring, stupid plot. It probably wouldn't really do anything to make the drama, the tension between the characters go forward. And also, it was painfully obvious in the audio drama that Yuna was not really breaking up with Tidasi. Yuna breaks up with Tidasi because if he knows the nature of his beckoning, he disappears. She doesn't want that, so she distances herself. All this is done. Right. That's exactly it, Todd. So again, not to necessarily defend the audio drama too much because it's not great, but like a lot of the criticisms that people do make on it is just fundamentally based on like misunderstanding. I do think it's like okay. It really depends on what they do with it. I'm not completely turned off by this because there are some really interesting things that do happen. Like it says here, presumably this would lead into X-3, where their rocky relationship is fixed, the unstable far plane is fixed, Tidus' revival is explained, his altered personality is elaborated on / explained, the unsent summoner is elaborated on / explained, and the concept of the beckoning is explained. So there are some other things too in the audio drama that also happen. Aeon has kids. Let's see if we can find them real quick. Give me 1 second. Just in case. Don't like to have my thing visible just in case I accidentally dox myself on any information. What's his name? Alright, children. That's a fan. All right, let me find the visual for you first. But Chuami, that's her name. Let's look. Here we go. We can pull this up. We can pull up Chuami. So Chuami is a girl who claims to be Aron's daughter. And this causes conflict in the audio drama because Lulu is like, be gone. Aron never had a daughter. Every mention of new info makes me not want X-3. I get it, Del. Like, honestly, like here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'll make a nuanced argument here. I'll say that there is no way to make a really good X-3. But I think the setup that they have here is like the best setup you can have for a X-3. If that makes sense. Like, I get like what they're doing here with it in such a way where it's like, okay, this setup here is like the most intriguing thing you can possibly do to potentially make Final Fantasy X-3. But yeah, also at the same time, it's like, the fuck. I didn't know unsent could get women pregnant. Yeah, we don't know what the limit of unsent is lore wise, so maybe unsent can in fact do that. It's like literally impossible for me to say. So we just don't know, but it seems like they can, because timeline wise, Chuami is like younger than Yuna or Tidus, right? And Yuna and Tidus are like in their 20s at this point. So, and Chuami, I believe, is younger than that, because Chuami is a 17-year-old woman with brown eyes. So timeline wise, it has to be, it kind of would have to be after. Well, no, not necessarily, because Yuna was already born after the pilgrimage. So like Yuna was a couple of years old, so Yuna remembers her father actually. So if Aaron met a woman before the pilgrimage, before he went off on the pilgrimage, then Aaron would have had that kid before he became an unsent, before he died. So actually that does line up technically. Yeah, because Yuna would probably be like somewhere between 21 and 23 at this point. So actually the math does math. That actually does check out. Very interesting. Dude McGuy, hello. The story could take 1,000 years later. We could see why the people left the planet. Are you talking about like 10 connected to 7 stuff? I don't think they'll lean into that with 10.3. By the way, I think they'll actually keep them pretty separate. But anyway, Chuami claims to be Aaron's daughter, and that's kind of left up for speculation. But I think we all know that Chuami will end up being their Aaron's daughter, because that's just what makes the most sense. Now, if we look for Final Fantasy X-3 Tidussi, he already exists. He's not a secret. I mean, he literally drew him. He literally drew what he wanted to do with X-3 Tidussi. Personally, I really feel it. I'm into it. I love that he's wearing Jecht's headband now. I think that that's a really cool detail. And Bro gave him the Jecht scarf and called it a day. So actually, like the one I love most, the one I'm like most into personally, is Yuna's X-3 design, which I think is really cool. I love the long hair. It's a great way to kind of like distinguish her from That's Just Lynn. Right, and I feel like maybe there's a purpose in that too, right? Because also Tidussi here has like some Shuyin vibes. So, I mean, yeah, I'll miss the short hair, but it looks good. I feel the same way, right? Like, I think the long hair is not like a bad choice at all, because I think we've already had 2 short hairstyles with Yuna. So the only way to really mix Yuna up at this point is to give her long hair. I think it's also really interesting. Yeah, her design is reminiscent of her Tin design. Right, so she kind of goes back to being a summoner, right? Which is also very fascinating. She like starts practicing the art of summoning again. That in itself is really interesting. So I think just the fact alone that we have these character designs, and they made these character designs specifically for the audio drama, it kind of, I mean, I don't know what else to say. They even said that we want to make 10-3. It doesn't get any more obvious than that. And by the way, I've made videos on this before. And who's the kid? I forget about the kid. Does anyone remember what the kid's name is? We could talk about him for a bit. I forget about the kid. But how is summoning again even possible when the Faith all died at the end of Final Fantasy X? Well, I mean, what happened to make Yu Yevon like the first summoner, right? Like, so if we go into Yu Yevon lore, like what even made him like able to like ascend to that power? Yu Yevon was the ancient leader of Zanarkand. He's the father of Unalesca, a mysterious entity. Only the information given about Yu Yevon comes from Bahamut's faith, Unalesca and Machen. And Micah, 1,000 years ago, Yu Yevon was the leader of Zanarkand. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, you guys. I have this like so off center. I didn't realize. Yu Yevon was the leader of Zanarkand and a powerful summoner. Zanarkand was at war with Bavel, a strong military power that used mechanical technology to build weapons. Unwilling to let Zanarkand be destroyed, Yu Yevon had the surviving citizens turn themselves into faith and use them to summon an idealized version of Zanarkand at the peak of its power. Yu Yevon gathered a horde of fireflies, transformed into an armor himself, which became the creature's sin. Okay. That's sick as fuck, by the way. So, all of the inhabitants of Zanarkand basically had to essentially die and turn themselves into faith so that they can summon that idealized version of Zanarkand and become sin. That's so cool. Damn, Tin lore is awesome, dude. Yu Yevon gave the creatures a simple set of instructions. Destroy any machina or large settlements to stall technological evolution and retaliate to all hostility with extreme prejudice. Sin's first act was to destroy the real Zanarkand. As the armies of Avel saw the destruction, they retreated, bringing the first news of the great monster. Eventually, a religion was created around Yu Yevon's name. His worshippers did not realize they were praying to the one responsible for Spirit's cycle of destruction. According to the faith, used to summon Dream Zanarkand, Yu Yevon is neither good nor evil. His existence only has one purpose: to maintain Dream Zanarkand while protected by his armor, which is why he is drawn to the final Aeon when his former armor, Sin, has been destroyed. Shortly before creating Sin, Yu Yevon informed Unalesca of his plan and created her and gave her a means of calming the creature. Every time a summoner destroys Sin, the Aeon used for the final summoning is possessed by Yu Yevon and used to rebuild Sin. The period of time Yu Yevon is rebuilding his armor is known as the Calm. 1,000 years after Sin has been reborn many times over, Yuna and her guardians pierce its armor and defeat Yu Yevon. This temporarily banishes Sin. It later returns in Final Fantasy X will, ending Yuna's then calm and allows the faith to cease dreaming. Damn, that's some good ass lore, bro. That's some good ass lore. That is really good lore. That really also puts it very simply. Whoever like wrote that and broke it down is very good. Can we watch the Matron lore in 10.2? He appears a few times to fill in the gaps. Do you have a link to it? If you can grab a link to it, we could watch that real quick. That would actually be good. Well done, Lore Peak. Yeah, absolutely. So that really explains the cycle of Yu Yevon quite well. And so that's a good question, dude, my guy. Like, how is Yuna summoning, or how does she go back to being a summoner now? Because you do need the faith, and the way the faith were originally created was through Yu Yevon, who essentially did all of this to summon, which is really, really crazy. How would the possible game work with Tin returning? She beckons them. How would the possible game work with Sin returning? So I don't know. The hint is that Seymour is the one beckoning Sin, right? Because the basically the wall of life and death is like crumbling, right? Here is the thing with all of this, and what I don't know whether people will like this or not, but essentially the only way to make this work that I can think of narratively would be for everybody who is being beckoned to go back to the far plane. That would include Tidussi, right? But it would also mean, too, that we would have cameos from characters that, like... we'd have cameos from characters that we have not had cameo that you wouldn't expect, right? It would mean that Aaron would be back, because Aaron would be back to essentially... I mean, the narrative purpose of that would be that you want Aaron to come back to see his daughter and confirm that, and for him and his daughter to have that emotional moment. So Aaron has to come back. It also means like a lot of weird shit that has to happen too. Like Lord Braska would come back. It would mean that like, I mean, Jecht would be back, right? Chapu would be back. Chapu being back would also be very interesting, right? Because Chapu is going to basically have to witness the ultimate expletive holding of of a life. Like, yeah, sorry, bro. I married your girl and we have a kid now. We really missed you. Poor Chapu. Poor Chapu. Dude. So some of the drama could be really interesting in it, like just predicated on that alone, right? It could be kind of interesting to see some of those interactions happen. Also, you know, there's going to be those interactions happening because whenever Square does like a remake or any type of like conclusion to a trilogy, one thing they like to do is like include all the elements of the games all in one. Because you could see them doing it with like Remake, for example, when they bring in like characters like Vice and they try to make like FF7 Remake a celebration of all things FF7, and the Arbiters is like one way in which they vehicle that. And yeah, they try to include Advent Children and Dirge and things that like didn't even happen yet. Also, yeah, the possibility for Lin and Shuyin to fucking return is like also on the table. So basically, if you can think of any character in Final Fantasy X continuity, they potentially would show up in Final Fantasy X-3, including the dead Chupuff, as said in the audio drama will. You know, that's something that never gets brought up in the MCU. What about all the people who come back from Thanos Snap to find their spouse remarried to someone else. I mean, the snap is like so poorly handled in general, in my opinion, because the snap would have so many insane consequences to calculate and figure out that it would be no way possible for like basically every single story in the MCU, if the snap was going to be handled like with a realistic sense, would have to be about the snap, because the snap is like such an insane thing that every single character would have to have like several pages books worth of like snap stuff just to like oh man, the MCU style of multiverse and that type of thing is just like, it's a hot ass mess, man. The snap's reason was just bad when Thanos' comic reason was to impress death itself. Yeah, it was not very good in the MCU, because yeah, it would need 6 season series to solve the mess. Yeah. Yeah, like just to make it like conclusively like wrap up in a way that they didn't need to address it anymore. But like, yeah, honestly, that would actually be like the most compelling MCU thing you could make for me right now, is just to make a series that is just about like normal people and what they did during the snap. Maybe that's a thing already. I don't know. I don't keep up with the MCU that closely, but like that in itself being a series would actually be more interesting than anything actually happening with the MCU for me right now. How Yuna's mom met Braska. I don't think Yuna's mom is really talked about at all, so I'm just gonna write off and say that Yuna's mom something something died when she was really young. Just because she's not mentioned actually. So like, in fact, I don't think we hear about Yuna's mom at all. Maybe Del knows something because he's kind of a Tin lore expert, but like, I don't even think we touch that at all. There's like a 4 TV series of that premise, by the way. Manifest is one. Okay, so we just straight up don't know anything about Yuna's mom. That makes sense. We see her once in the far plane. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we would see them. We'd also see all the people Sin killed too, right? I think that, well, then that also begs a big question though, chat, because like if Sin's gone, right? If Sin is gone, or I mean, not Sin's gone. If Sin is back, right? If he's back, but then like he also is like the beckoning is happening, and so Sin can just keep coming back, but then also people who died can keep coming back. Then like what's even like, who even gives a damn about Sin, right? Like, I guess Sin is like really inconvenient because he destroys like your house and stuff. But like if the beckoning is happening and Sin is also back, like what's the tragedy of Sin when you can just beckon everyone back? What are like the lore limitations on that, right? Like what is to stop you from like, you know, just beckoning multiple Sins, Shu Yin, Seymour, and Yu Yevon merge into one? So like multiple Sins and the Sins like DNA digivolve into like mega Sinmon. And yeah, that would like, yeah, this beckoning thing destroys the impact of the first game. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know how it like works out, right? I mean, but like, you know, too, and this is like something that I talked about before, the arbiters also create that same like feeling for me in remake, where I'm like, I don't know how this works out in the story, but like, I guess we're gonna find that out soon when we get remake part 3. But I'm still like, I don't get like what the narrative purpose of the arbiters like really is yet, other than like they've touched on it in remake, obviously, but in terms of like a higher level purpose of like what this is actually going to do for the story, I'm still not sure yet. And I feel the same way about like some of the things teased in 10.3, where I'm like, how does this work? Where you have the sin being back, but you also have the beckoning happening, right? Beckoning makes death have no stakes, like the whispers. I mean, yeah, the beckoning is weird. I mean, beckoning is like arguably way worse than like the whispers, right? So, yeah, in general, it's a bad idea to undo consequences in a story. It hurts the stakes if the audience feels the writer can undo things for the sake of drama. Arbiters are the fans of the story that don't like when the story breaks canon. See, I actually I like, I still don't understand what the point of that is to you. Right? Because even if that is the case, then it's still like everything is still happening. So like, do they finally defeat? But even then, right, like Sephiroth has possession of the arbiters, and so he like infected them, and so Sephiroth is making the arbiters. I don't know. 7R lore makes me SMH. As much as I like the games themselves, the lore of the remake trilogy just makes me like scratch my damn head, or shake my damn head, whichever one. The people that get beckoned are still dead. Machen explains that they're just fireflies imitating the dead by reading the memories of the living. No. That's not what it said, though. Is it? I thought it said that the beckoning are like real. Like, let's see if we can pull this back up. Beckoning is a term used in Final Fantasy X 2.5, Aeon no Daisho, and Final Fantasy X will. It refers to a person thinking of someone they used to know. Oh yeah, okay. Yuna has joined a group of Yevoners who with. Actually, one second, because like, wait, the fundamental difference that we just read was supposed to be that like when they beckon in the audio drama, it's supposed to be like they are fully alive again, and it's not like the far plane. But let's I'm sorry, I don't even have this up. I'm like reading shit that you guys don't even see. I'm sorry. Let me hide this real quick. Yuna has joined a group called the Yevoners. With their main temple on the Sage, she acts as the group's priestess, spending her days praying to the bygone faith. Okay, so Dude McGuide, that's your answer there. I wish we had an actual English translation of this book, because right now we kind of go off like some conjecture. While prohibiting Yevoners from performing beckonings, in time, the far plane is revealed to have become unstable to the point that the dead are beginning to be revived across Spira. So that's interesting. Like, how does that even work, really? The far plane is revealed to become unstable to the point that the dead are being revived across Spira. That seems like a good thing, right? Someone's thoughts about a shoe puff being killed 30 years ago brought to the Moonflow. Chancellor Barali acquired a recording of the Shuprav, sent to Kurgam and Chuami to Bisay to show it to Yuna, bringing her to Bavel so she could discuss the matter with her. Once Yuna and the others visited Moonflow, they find a crowd of illusory people. While observing a living father and daughter with her illusory mother, it is revealed that these are not normal beckoned people, since they can also speak and be heard by everyone. The internal calm was not to be after all, as it is eventually revealed that Sin also has been brought back. So it's a detective story, right? I mean, there's a mystery box here for sure. I don't want the dev team to spend 6 years making a sequel to this game just to make me hate it. I feel that, bro. I mean, that's why I think Final Fantasy 17 should be the big focus, right? And when I say FF17, I don't even just literally mean FF17. I mean next FF. Right? So even if CPU 3 is working on FF17, then CPU 1 needs to be working on Final Fantasy 18, right? There is a part of me that strictly wants to say, we do not need to dig up the grave of classics like this to make sequels, right? Like, we have so much of this happening in film and in games right now. Like, do we really need more? That's my firm stance on it. However, I can't deny me feeling a sense of excitement to go back to Spira, like, you know, to revisit Final Fantasy X. But the part of me that knows that, like, or how should I say it? I think the best way to say it is that, you know, there's part of me that wants to go into my fridge. I got a bucket of ice cream right now. The flavor fucking fucks. It's called like gooey butter cake. I can't stop eating it. There's a part of me that wants to say, yo, bro, fuck dinner. I want to go eat this whole half gallon of gooey butter cake ice cream. Right? There's part of me that says I want to do that, right? That's the part of me that also says, hey, let's keep digging up these classics. Let's make 10-3. But the part of me that's a responsible adult that knows that I need nutrition, knows that I should eat my proper dinner that has a protein, a carb, and vegetables, right? And so that is always the duality of like remakes and sequels continuing forever and trying to actually make something new, is that that adult mature part of me is always saying, hey, we need to not eat the ice cream. Every now and then, a little ice cream is good for us, for our souls, to keep us going. But we can't just keep down in the ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that. Yeah, FF18 needs to be full tilt Eastern shit too. No more medieval. I mean, prior to Final Fantasy 16's announcement, if you guys like go all the way back, I was actually hoping that it wouldn't be medieval. I kind of gave it the pass for it being medieval because I was like, well, you know, CPU 3 did such a great job with they did such a great job with Final Fantasy 14 story and setting, so I'm sure that it's not going to just be medieval. But it was, and I don't think Valisthea was like a super interesting I don't think Valisthea was a super interesting setting, right? Like, I don't think back on Valisthea thinking like, oh, Valisthea was such a cool, unique location that I can't get from other video games. In the same way that I might think about other Final Fantasies even. I don't think that Valisthea was that intriguing for me personally overall. I felt like I mean, there were some very cool visual aspects about it, like the giant crystals in the icons, but ultimately Valisthea, I think, didn't even have as much like sauce as like Final Fantasy 14, for example, which actually I think the art of 14 has quite a bit of sauce to it. But I think that like when it comes to like to 16's like setting and such, like it was kind of sauceless for me personally. So I do want 17 to not lean into being like the, you know, like the Western medieval fantasy again. I wanted to go to a place that's never gone before. And I think the best place to do that would be to look more toward Eastern cultures than to look towards the same Western cultures that they have done on repeat. Valistia would have been far more interesting if the game occurred during the time of the Fallen. I think it would have been more interesting if the Fallen were more consequential lore-wise than just being like, the Fallen, yeah, those are the guys who fell. And that's the lore of the Fallen. They're the guys who fell. Like the Fallen's lore is like a paragraph, not even like a paragraph. It's like 3 sentences long. There's like nothing like really interesting about the Fallen like whatsoever. And I like waited like the whole game to get like a really cool, interesting reveal about the Fallen, thinking it was going to be like, you know, on the level of something like Xanarkand or Az's Law with the Alligans or something like that, and it never got there at all. Actually, what's that? Agni's Philosophy. Agni's Philosophy was just a tech demo for Luminous Engine. That's all Agni's Philosophy was. However, Agni's Philosophy tech demo is exactly what I think a Final Fantasy 17 should look like, right? Yeah, like how about an FF game with like some Indian inspired culture and architecture? That would be interesting. So much something that we show us something that we don't see in game worlds as much, right? And I think that's what Final Fantasy did, right? It showed you stuff that you don't see in video game worlds that much, to the point of where it was like super unique. How about Versus? So Versus 13 was going to be that, right? Because like Versus 13 was going to be that type of world that you don't see in video games very much. And then it felt like with Final Fantasy 15 that they just completely kind of went back on that, right? Because it felt like it still felt kind of generic open world-ish by the end, aside from the car and the roads. The direction of it felt nerfed by the end game, and so I don't feel like 15 like really achieved that. Really, 13 was interesting. I do feel like that 13's like art direction and just the visual design and setting was really interesting. However, I think the narrative of 13 really underdelivered the potential of that setting. And so while it looks cool, it just never actually gets to a point of where I think back on like Cocoon and Pulse fondly as locations in themselves or places in themselves. Whereas like you can just post a picture of Kilika and I immediately am like, yo, or a picture of Besaid, and I'm like, bro, that's home. You know, like I'm like deeply connected to those environments, and the reason I'm connected to those environments is in large part due to the narrative that corresponds with them, and as well as just the cool aesthetics that they picked for those locations that really stand out in your mind, and you can't really find another thing that looks like it. I feel like 13 is really cool, but it does kind of overlap with other high-tech RPGs. Like, I feel like it's like not as visually distinct from something like Xenoblade, for example. But Xenoblade's like a better version of that same type of like high-tech RPG, high fantasy looking setting. So people living inside a hollowed planet is a unique presentation for 13. We just don't connect with that world because the characters are running away all the time. Yeah. Which I feel like, you know, them being on the run, like in terms of gameplay, could have been used in like really interesting ways. But they didn't. Like, I feel like if you're going to do characters on the run all the time, something like stealth, for example, should be like an important part of the game. Or if they're constantly on the run, they should be like thinking about how they're going to eat. So they're like, there should be like some type of like food mechanic. I think that, like, you know, part of the problem I had with 13 is like the way they engage you with the idea of the characters always being on the run is to put them in a forward hallway where all you have to do is like run forward, right? If they had some other way of engaging you with the idea that the characters are on the run, and to really make you feel that from like a gameplay perspective other than just like, you know, the locked in level design, I think that could have been like a really compelling idea. I mean, also too, I mean, you know, 7 also has characters who are on the run too, right? Like, we're always on the run from Shinra in FF7, but I mean, despite being always on the run from Shinra and FF7, we still have room for so many other things, right? So that was the problem there. I thought the lore of 13 was great, but the Snow and Lightning were weak characters. Noel, Caius, and Sarah. Yeah, I thought those were better characters too. Yeah, that or the on the run part of the story should be like 3 chapters instead of 7 more. Right. They could have cut that part short, right? And then focused on the other stuff. So I think that would have been like a great way to do it. Highs is Eyes, thank you so much for joining us. 13 was all right. At best, 13 Lightning Returns is okay-ish. I like 13 too the most. But yeah, I mean, you know, for 17, I do want them to explore places that we haven't been before. I think that the perfect, I don't even know why I'm still wearing those. I don't know. I think that the perfect place to like really go next, you know, as Dale mentioned in chat, like I do think like a Final Fantasy is set in like a fantasy version of India would be cool. We kind of saw that in Endwalker with Rods at Han. We also saw in Dawn Trail too recently, where they're basically going to Final Fantasy Latin America. You know, honestly, 14 has really been good about that, like exploring these different locations, which is kind of like what led me to feel like a little disappointed, like coming into like 16's more medieval setting too. Was that like, you know, I'm thinking in 14, like 14 started to appeal to me more when we got away from the medieval part of 14, and we first kind of went into, you know, Heavensward, which is a little bit more gothic, and then we went into Stormblood, which was various locations in East Asia for inspiration, and then we you know, we went to Shadowbringers, which Shadowbringers is like dark fantasy, but it's also like a ton of other locations and inspirations that I'd have to look into, but it's not standard medieval for sure. Shadowbringers actually kind of being like the aesthetic peak for me. The light drenched post-apocalyptic world with you being this warrior of darkness, like killing these like angel-like creatures. Very cool. And then in Walker, we went to places that were also really interesting design-wise. We went to Razat Han again, which is like Final Fantasy India, which looked super, super cool. And so, yeah, I'm kind of looking for that stuff again. And now, you know, Dawn Trail is happening, and we're looking at essentially like a version of Final Fantasy Latin America. So I do think that, like, inspiration wise, I don't want it to just be, you know, the same sort of typical Western fantasy that you'd expect, you know. Like, if I could, like, you know, show you guys, like, because I do think no, that's not it. It's okay. Yeah, never mind. We won't worry about that. But anyway, yeah, I just think that would be cool. Shadowbringers and Endwalker is just FF4 but 14. I'm just talking about aesthetics. I'm not talking about like necessarily the story inspiration for those games. I'm just talking about what they pull from in terms of making cool locations and settings. Story stuff for 17 is kind of hard to talk about because we just really don't know like what 17 is actually going to pull from, what it's going to look like. We just don't know any of that stuff yet. So, but I do want to look at the location for the next game and feel like it is something that we just haven't seen before. And you know, we can look at all the different cultures across the world, but you know, there's also different fantasy depictions too from those cultures and other things that we can really lean into. And that's really what I want to see next. You know, like I said, I wouldn't say no to 10-3, it being ice cream in my earlier analogy. However, you know, if it were up to me, every Final Fantasy team would be working on brand new stuff and not just, you know, doing any remakes or any sequels. But if 10-3 was to happen, I still would meet it with, you know, open arms and try to see if it can be good. So better ending, Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy VII Re. Actually, I should stop before people take it too seriously. Hello subtext. Yeah, I would say that 10 is the better ending for me. Rebirth's ending is still I don't know how I'm gonna you know, it's weird because I really don't know how I'm gonna feel about Re-Trilogy story until Re-Trilogy story is hindsight and not like an active thing that I'm like looking at like right now, right? If that makes sense. Because I feel like I can't really like, until I know what it is that they're trying to do. Because right now what they're trying to do is so ambiguous to me that if I'm just going to judge it based on what I think it is, and what I think it is not going to be favorable to it's probably not going to be too favorable to it. And I don't feel right doing that because they seem to really have something that they're trying to work out that is something that we haven't seen before, maybe. So I want to be charitable to them and see what the thing is first before I'm like mid, you know what I'm saying? But we'll see. That being said, I do think that the Re-Trilogy games present a gameplay formula, gameplay loop in general, loosely so, that should be the gameplay foundations of Final Fantasy going forward. In particular, in terms of combat, which is another thing to discuss, because Final Fantasy is action now. So if you guys are talking about 10-3 and 10 Remake, would you guys accept those things if they were action games? Now, personally speaking, excuse me, I can accept an action game remake of any other Final Fantasy game. I cannot accept an action game Final Fantasy X anything. Not 10-3, not 10 Remake, nothing. Like, if you make Final Fantasy X action, it's over for me. That's like the one that I can't do. I'd be fine with action, but I'm here for the story. I loved 10's turn-based. 10 has the best turn-based in the series. And don't be a fucking like, actually ATB is not turn-based. I don't care. Command-based. That's what the developers call it to group them together. It is the best command-based system. And so I would not want Final Fantasy X to be action at all. I think Final Fantasy X has to stay turn-based. I would not accept anything from FF10 that was not turn-based. Actually, 9 also, I agree. 9 also has to stay turn-based. I don't think I can, like, I can't deal with 9 not being turn-based. I feel like that's like, I think people accepted Final Fantasy VII Remake being action because of Advent Children and Kingdom Hearts showing those characters in action. In Final Fantasy X, we don't have that, so it's a big leap. It's a huge leap, right? So, and also too, right? Like for Final Fantasy VIII Remake, we can also really accept it easily because we had higher quality FMVs in that game, and those higher quality FMVs allowed us to look at Squall fighting in real time, right? And so we were able to kind of get that abstraction in FF8 because we know how Squall would move with the gunblade, right? And everyone's actions were kind of easy to like really perceive. And so I feel like FF8 being action is also not like a huge leap. But I feel like FF10 being action is a huge leap. Like just thinking about Lulu moving around in real time. Now Lulu won't be a playable character in 10.3. That's like almost like guaranteed anyway, because they'll just be like, oh, she's a mom now, so she can't be a playable character. Waka may or may not be a playable character. But Lulu would probably sit it out, which is like an L, a hardcore L. Maybe Pain would actually become like a black mage to like fill that role. That would also be cool. To fill Arin's role, we would probably have Chuami, because I don't think they'd bring... Well, I don't know. They might bring Arin back as a playable character, but I imagine that Chuami would fill Arin's role, right? They then would have to change Lulu's outfit for action combat or make her teleporter. Yeah, they'd basically have to redesign Lulu. Or make her battle mechanics, like, kind of absurd. So, I don't know. I can personally say there is no action game system that would fulfill the same sort of like... I think that 7R's combat definitely still kind of fulfills the role of Final Fantasy VII's combat, because Final Fantasy VII's combat wasn't deeply strategic in the same way that 10's combat was. And I think that like a lot of turn-based old heads, whenever they talk about Final Fantasy turn-based combat being so strategic, a lot of them are forgetting that like most of the non-FF10 FFs were not really that super strategic. They had like maybe a chi strat, a lot of chi strats that you could use, and that was like it. But like 10 unironically is what the turn-based stands are talking about when they were like, you know, Final Fantasy used to have like deep turn-based where you could strategize. That was true for like FF10. And like maybe to another extent like 10 too. But I don't think like looking back at like the ATB games, like whether like those games are like deeply strategic or not, I don't really think that most of them were that deeply strategic. Maybe if you were doing like super bosses and stuff like that, but like in terms of like actually being deeply strategic where you could like literally go back and play with your strategy all day and figure it out, like we just did for Braska's final Aeon. Yeah, it's really just Final Fantasy X, right? And then ironically, after Final Fantasy X, the other deeply strategic FF I feel like is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Which I feel like Remake is more strategic than the original FF7 in a lot of ways. Or I should say maybe equally strategic. That's a better way of putting it. So I think Rebirth combat can totally work as 10.3 with controllable summons, 10.2 dress systems and other. You're not wrong. You're objectively not wrong. But I don't want it. You're objectively correct, but no. I refuse. Like, it could work, but I just don't. No, I just don't want it. 10 is turn-based. It's a hill that I would definitely die on, right? And you guys know I'm not a guy who's going to be like, oh, it's not turn-based, is bad. I would with 10 Remake or 10-3. Like, that is the hill I would die on. That is the absolute hill that I would stake my life on, for sure. For 10, I'd love it if they made the turn-based harder, more complicated. Characters could be more different with sphere grid alterations. Yeah, I would just love for them to double down on 10. You know, and this is something that I'm going to mention in the retrospective too, that I already started writing earlier today. Is that I feel like for as much as Square talks about like chasing FF7 again, right? Like, and I don't just mean like the remake, right? But trying to make a game that is as influential as FF7, that like blows up in the same way as FF7. Ironically, if you look at 13 and 16 and even part 1 of 7 Remake, what they've really been doing is chasing Final Fantasy X. Right? They have, I mean, even 15 really with its skill tree, but they have these things that look like the sphere grid. They look like, skill trees. They don't have the sauce that the sphere grid has, for sure. They've been doing the more linear, story-driven games, right? In a lot of ways, it does feel like they've tried to pursue 10's DNA more than they've tried to pursue 7's, but they also, feels like this to me, they've also kind of fundamentally missed like what it is about 10's DNA that actually made 10 work, and like these other games that are very similar to 10 in their linear structure and their sphere-like grids that generally just boil down to just being generic skill trees. And they just don't understand like what it actually was about 10 that worked, I feel like. And they've made games that are very similar in a lot of ways, and then you have fans that are like, well, you like 10, why don't you like this? And I feel like the developers are probably thinking that too, right? Like, they're like, well, people like 10, why don't they like 13? And they don't understand, like, well, the nuances of the sphere grid that allow me to customize the characters in different ways rather than just spending points on which role are why people like the sphere grid and not why they like and why they don't like the Crystarium, right? Or Final Fantasy 15 skill tree, or the absolute lowest point in Final Fantasy progression systems, I'm sorry, is Final Fantasy 16's, like, I don't even think it has a proper name, but Final Fantasy 16's like icon system, where like it's literally just a couple of abilities and you can put points in them to make them better, and then that's it. And then there's nothing else you can do with that point. That might actually be my least favorite progression system in the whole series, was that one, because I was just like, there is no sauce to this, or any options, or any like anything cool about. I guess the options is like which icon abilities you'll use, but there's no giving Clive more health or like leveling him in any specific way, or because you could also just refund action game cosplaying as an RPG. Right, it would actually be a better action game if they remove the RPG elements and just double down on the action game stuff. I actually feel like the RPG elements were a distraction in that game, because they ultimately didn't matter. They were there purely cosmetically, and they didn't actually do anything. It basically had no RPG. You can make the whole game again without any like leveling or anything like that, and it would still work. The RPG mechanics were useless. Weapons were pointless. Yeah, there was no point. There's no point. So I feel like they keep trying to streamline the RPG, because And this is something that's been happening since 13. I feel like they feel like RPG elements will not resonate with people, or will scare people away, or not be like accessible or wanted by people. And I just so strongly disagree with that. I think Baldur's Gate 3 like pulled the mask off of that idea so hard and revealed the truth that people really do want harder core RPG experiences. Actually, it's kind of funny, right? Because every other game on Earth, every other game series, game developer is leaning harder into the RPGification of their game. Oh my God, Subtext said that at the exact moment that I was formulating that sentence. Meanwhile, RPG elements have invaded every other franchise, even actual, right. So every other game is becoming more RPG, even games that aren't RPG. For example, Zelda is becoming more RPG, right? Like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom made Zelda way more RPG than it was before. They have a ton more RPG elements, while not technically being labeled an RPG. God of War, for example, is an action game series, but now God of War has so many fucking RPG elements, and it only got even more RPG elements with Ragnarok, right? Every single game is becoming more RPG, even if the game is not at all an RPG. And like for some reason, Square Enix keeps thinking like, oh, let's make the games a less RPG, right? And this started with Final Fantasy 13 when they came up with a lot of things like their weapon upgrade systems being streamlined, and the choices that, because you only have 3 stats in 13, if you guys recall correctly, or it's like 3 or 4 stats. I think you only have attack, magic, and HP. And that's it. And you don't have any other stats. It's basically all controlled for you. And then that's it. And you don't have any type of customization or anything else like that. And so 13 was the one where they kind of started that trend of where you didn't really have that many RPG elements. FS7R was streamlined a bit as well. Materia no longer had stat penalties for equipping them, only stat bonuses. So you don't have to think about the consequences of equipping too many green materia and reducing your HP/strength, right? At least with 7R though, they had the RPG elements were still there and they included them, but like, hot take, Final Fantasy 14 gear progression is boring. It is boring. It's super boring because everything boils down to just eye level, right? And so if you have the bigger eye level, the number, I mean, only one number matters really. And it's the eye level, and then that's it. And then there's nothing else outside of that. There's no scenarios where other gear might be better or anything like that. And so yeah, it is kind of boring. And so they keep nerfing the RPG element of their RPGs. It seems like Rebirth is nearly perfect in terms of graphics, so they can focus more on storytelling and gameplay for the next game. Yeah, largely one dimension, right? And that's like a problem with like 13 through 16, right, including 14. It's just that like the RPG part of the games has like not been there heavily enough. And they keep nerfing it more and more each game until we got like Final Fantasy 16, where you can make very sensible arguments that game is not an RPG at all, right? And I would personally argue that it's not an RPG. It's just a hack and slash that has a level up mechanic for some reason. It has a cosmetic level up mechanic that doesn't actually do anything to affect the overall game, because you can be 20 levels lower than an enemy and you can still beat that enemy just fine in the hunts. All you need is skill, and leveling up is not going to impact it that tremendously unless you need that much more health, but typically you don't. And so those are my thoughts there. Okay, with that being said, I am logging out. I have to go see my mom for her birthday. So I will see you guys all soon. I'm getting to work on the Final Fantasy X retrospective, so I hope you look forward to that. Anyways,